The Heat trying to go to a place that very few teams have gone, and that's the three-peat. Oh, McRoberts with the right hand over Anderson. Wade, and a foul. James, the three-pointer. The Heat just pouring it on here in the fourth.
The Charlotte Bobcats back in postseason and given a tall order given their regular season performance against Miami's Big Three. Miami had a 16-game win streak overall against Charlotte, 4-0 this season, 15-0 since LeBron and Bosh joined Wade. And the games haven't been close. Also, this was just the second playoff appearance ever for the Bobcats. It went this way at American Airlines Arena. White hot for the Heat. Big Al Jefferson tried to cool him off. And he did early on, Bones. Al Jefferson was great.
So great to close out the season for Charlotte. And this was the big matchup that the Heat were worried about, obviously going inside to Big Al and pounding them in the post. But bad news early, Vince.
Right, late in the first quarter, timeout. Jefferson limping to the bench. Took off that left shoe. And it was a left plantar fascia tear.
Been there, done that. You can play on it. It's not comfortable, though.
No, you could see that. He left for the locker room, return later. Gary Neal, big lift, 17 off the bench. Charlotte up. Meanwhile, Al's trying to stretch out that foot walk, see if he can give it a go. And he did.
It is super painful. As Rick said, he did come back out and did do some damage, but wasn't the same.
Nope. And right now, how about a holiday message from LeBron?
Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Got a shot, you take it. Got to drive it, all right? We get a stop, we got to go. We can't keep playing half-court offense versus them. We got to go.
Well, the Heat was listening. LeBron in transition. D. Wade, layup and one. Missed the free throw. Miami up by one. Now Gary Neal. That's a miss. No co-rebounds and gives to LeBron. Good choice. Rick, that's his spot.
I think a lot of spots for LeBron work, particularly in front of the bench there on that wing. Pretty proficient.
Part of a 17-2 run. Meanwhile, Rio, the steal, brings it up court behind the back. James Jones. That's right, James Jones making an appearance.
Got a few minutes at the end of the season, paying off.
Miami up by 7 at the break. Then Chris Bosh missing. Kemba Walker comes down with the rebound. Whoa, Kemba Walker, fancy.
A brilliant move with the ball there, coming full speed, able to get around Chalmers. Timeout Miami, and then Kemba goes back to work. James Jones shakes him loose, knocks down that shot.
At 20 in the game on 6 of 15. Charlotte is up by 2. Now D. Wade looked pretty good.
They're going to go as Dwayne goes. He's healthy, attacking the rim. That's a good sign.
Missed 28 games this season. Had the hamstring problem late, but wow. That was D. Wade vintage. And ditto LeBron James.
King.
Another pull-up three.
The chosen one.
Miami's up 72-65. We head to the fourth quarter, and this was quite a play by Josh McBob.
Ooh, he has risen.
Wow, super.
Yes.
I said this one, supersize me.
Yeah, the Bobcats version of the chosen one.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful play by Josh McRoberts.
Right in Birdman's beak. And then D. Wade takes the feed. It's a step-back three. 23 in the game for him, 10 of 16. Like I said, vintage D. Wade. Miami's up by 15. Ray Allen to Chris Anderson. It wasn't a big throwdown, but...
No, but fourth quarter, the execution.
Oh, the flock.
Yeah, Miami was there. Big Birdman fan, obviously, there.
D. Wade, LeBron. Straight on three, sure.
Opened them up in the fourth quarter. This was good execution. Charlotte seemed to not know exactly where to go. Once that Al Jefferson injury happened for them, such a huge part of their offense, they hung in there. Fourth quarter time was Miami Heat time.
And it's 17 consecutive Miami wins over the Bobcats, and they dropped Charlotte to 0-5 all-time in postseason play. Out of nowhere, backing up the Big Three, James Jones, who played in only 20 games this season, but had his highest point total since November 20th. Big Al started 4 of 4 and then 5 of 13 following a left foot injury. He left the arena in a walking boot, by the way. But the beat goes on for LeBron James, continuing his climb up the all-time playoff scoring list, moving into 8th and displacing the great Larry Bird. LeBron also 9-0 first-round game ones, all of them at home. So it's interesting to me that in needing some support, and Miami will throughout the postseason, James Jones, Bones, what a pro move by him, a professional move to stay ready when necessary. Spo went to the bullpen and he threw strikes.
Well, I think Spoelstra tried to get him some minutes before the end of the season, knowing that come playoff time, James Jones might be a guy he relies on. They played a lot of small ball in this game, and Ray Allen got 22 minutes, but he was 0 of 4. Insert James Jones. He had very effective minutes. You see in 14 minutes, those 12 points, and he missed his first shot from the three-point line. You can see that Zeller was guarding him on the closeout. The second time he gets the ball, he says, okay, let me take it in. We always talk about establishing some confidence, getting the ball to go through. The layup goes for him, and then you can see the space that's created causing Zeller to have to track down wherever James Jones is. And then on the last one, McRoberts loses him here on the play because you're so concerned with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and what's going on with those two guys. If you lose sight of a great shooter, and that's what James Jones is, for just a count, you're a step late. A step is too long for a guy like that. So I'm sure Eric Spoelstra super complimentary in the locker room after the game, certainly with the media, about James Jones being ready for these minutes, going out and producing during these minutes. It's a good sign for the Miami Heat moving forward, especially in the absence of Mike Miller, a guy who provided them a lot of three-point heroics in the finals last year.
We'll see how much he's missed in the long run for Miami, Mike Miller. Meanwhile, health report now, 34 minutes played for Dwayne Wade. But for Big Al, and you mentioned it, Rick, you've had that torn plantar fascia. He's going to try to play through it. He vows to play in the next game on Wednesday. But what are you expecting out of Big Al? How will this go with treatment?
Well, each team makes adjustments from game to game. This is not an adjustment you were probably counting on having to make, which is an injury to your star player, especially the player that anchors your post play. I commend him for doing whatever it takes to get out there to support his team. They've worked hard to get to this point. But you can see right there, it's not a comfortable position to be in, taking shots. He walked out in the boot. He'll be in there, but he won't be the Al Jefferson that we've grown accustomed to seeing in this regular season for the Bobcats.
The other thing, Rick, and you know this, it doesn't just affect, we immediately think, okay, Al Jefferson in the post, producing points, it affects every part of what the Bobcats are this year. They've improved so much defensively because he's been the anchor on both ends of the floor. Offensively, they've got him to buy in. Defensively, now rotations, substitution patterns, all those things for Steve Clifford just kind of go out the window if you can't rely on the productive minutes that we saw from Al Jefferson in the last month of the season.
Yeah, Steve Clifford said he doesn't think any team relies more on one player than the Bobcats do on Al.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah. All right, game 2 is Wednesday on TNT.